In this video, we are going to be doing some in-depth stock analysis over on ContraFect Corp, ticker CFRX. So it did open it. It's currently the leading gap up 240% as we're recording this video. Closed yesterday around 90 cents, opened today around 240, and has already pushed to a high of 365 since the open. So when we're doing stocks like this, the main thing we're always focusing on is going to be the longer term charts. We're looking at a 6 month on the left, a 1 year on the right, and then really just paying attention to where these standard deviation channels are. Again, these are all of statistical deviation. So if you understand that, again, these will be a lot clearer. If not, we do always have a video on that. But again, we can see a massive sell-off. Don't really know what happened here. Haven't gone back to check, but I imagine just, some sort of maybe scam or something to really send a stock from around $228 to 45. Definitely something concerning. We went down to a low of 90 cents. So instantly when you see this kind of thing, I'm never going to be too long biased because there's a reason a stock sold off. Again, I don't even need to go and do the fundamental analysis to know if a stock sells off that much, there is a reason for that. It's probably not something you want to be trading long bias, and instead, if I can, catch it short bias. So what I'm paying attention to is then what are those key levels. So on the 1 year, we'll go over that secondly because the levels are quite far off. But on the 6 month, because it hasn't got that massive drop in there because that happened over 6 months ago, we've only got a high of $28 to 90 cents. So the deviations are still very negative, but at least they're not super wide. So right now, we're at 320. Our first deviational resistance is at 660. So really, if we push up to this kind of level, probably unlikely that we do it on the day because, then we would be required to be up well over, or probably about 1,000%. So that's probably not all that likely. But if we did, or maybe if this momentum continues into tomorrow or Wednesday, that is a level I'd really be paying attention to. To me, and personally from how I trade, there is really going to be no opportunity on this stock today unless, again, we do break to that 660, because I find if I was trading before that, I'm kind of just forcing a trade. But again, that's just down to how I personally trade the strategies that I use. One thing I would be looking out for is obviously the $5. That is going to be a key psychological level, but we'll see how that plays out. Now, if we break that, I would also be looking at $13.50, then going on to $20.60, and a final level on the 6 month chart at $27.50. So those are a bit closer to that one year charts targets. So these are, we hit any of these are really what I'd be paying attention to. Really, the first time we come into these, looking to play that pullback and hopefully a reversal. Again, that would be usually my main trade plan on it. But again, we don't want to be, kind of avoid trades or kind of miss opportunities if there is some, because if we do break over 660, we break above that level, we come back to test it as a support and it holds, really that would signify a higher move, and really we would then expect a move to 1350. So again, probably still not something I would take long, just because considering firstly it's very volatile, and secondly, considering it sold off so much, I don't really want to be caught in holding it long. But if it was any other stock, or again, if you don't really mind that risk, there is definitely that potential trend trade from 660 to around 1350. So those would be some of the main key levels. And then again, these ones are very unlikely to hit because they're just so far out. But on the 1 year, we do have a $35 level and then a second deviation of 148. But again, we're probably not going to hit those even if it squeezes. That still seems quite extreme. So those would be the main levels. From a support side, we don't really have any from a deviation perspective. Again, not something I'd be looking at holding long, so I don't think the supports matter too much. So the way I would be playing this, especially if you're holding this stock short bias from around the 660 and you're looking for targets, I would really just be looking in psychological levels. So potentially looking in a small amount at 6 and maybe moving your stock to break even. Then again, as we break down, take some at the 5s, take some at the 4, take some at the 3. And again, I probably wouldn't hold it all the way down to that kind of 52-week low or pre-gap move around $1. But again, it's always just seeing how they play out. One thing I did want to check actually is, do they have options? So it does have options, so that's at least one thing. It is something I could potentially trade, because again, we talk about short trading, but with these kind of stocks, again, firstly you need the shares available to short. You can see on ThinkOrSwim it is hard to borrow. So firstly, if there's shares available to short, it's not only are we holding it, it's are we going to be protected? Obviously, if you're day trading, you're going to be in and out within 10 minutes. Okay, cool. You don't really need that hedge as much. Again, sometimes it can still be good to have, just in case it halts and then flies up. But, if you're day trading, it's probably not as big of a concern. But if you were looking to swing this over multiple days, then again, it's always good when they have an option chain, because then at least you can define that risk, because we don't want to be holding anything really short bias or a small cap short bias overnight without some sort of a hedge. Because again, if it gapped up 250%, you were holding it short and it did that again, you know, could potentially blow your account depending on how much money you put in that trade. So really good to see that it has options. Definitely makes it a lot more kind of probable to trade. But yeah, key things key levels I was focusing on really is that 660. If we can break up to there, trading opportunity. Really, if we don't push up to there, not something I'm personally looking at really at all. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, why not drop a like and subscribe and check out this analysis video. And also while you're at it, if you want to grab some Lumley trading merch, it is in the description.